It's my pleasure to introduce to you Michael Pollack, okay? Michael Pollack Real Estate Investments. And Michael is a retail real estate developer. He's taken over sometimes shopping centers in a state of disrepair, and he's renovated and renewed and given them new life. He has done this all across the valley. He's done it also in other areas. So it is my pleasure again to introduce to you Mr. Michael Pollack. Michael, are you ready?
So first of all, I've got to tell you, when I heard him say that he was here since the Dead Sea, I got a little nervous because I started too in 1973. Of course, as you all probably know, I started when I was 3 in 1973. And here I am after all those years. I've been, in my background, I've been in just about every single facet of our industry that you can think of. I started out building one home, and from there I built many homes. Then I went into the multifamily world, and then I went into the industrial commercial. I actually retired back in 1985 after doing about 10,000 multifamily and single family units. I retired for one whole day back in 1985 after I sold out. And then I reinvented myself the next day into the commercial industrial world. So far in my career, I've been fortunate enough to have been involved in more than 11 million square feet of projects. And to think that all started when I was 3. A lot of people don't know that one of my very first partners who believed in me was a gentleman that came from Hong Kong. And he backed me back in actually it was 76 by then. And we still are friends to this day. And we still do projects together in harmony. So it's interesting, and that's even more special that I'm able to be here for your meeting today. When I heard people speak earlier about how difficult the situation has been in the real estate industry, and I heard the word survivors. You know, the truth is, anybody that is still in our industry, still standing, you can consider yourself not lucky. You can consider yourself very smart, because surviving over the last 3 or 4 years obviously has not been easy. And again, I've seen the interest rates of 1979, 1980. As some of you may remember, I know the one gentleman will, from 1973. The interest rates were 18 and 19%. We survived that, and we thought we really had to be survivors. Later we learned we probably could have borrowed from the mob cheaper. And when young people ask me today, do you think the interest rate is a good interest rate that I can get on my house at 3.5% or 4%? And I look at them and say, what if it went back to the double digits again? And they look at me and say, what's a double digit? So a double digit is something that we don't want to see, and hopefully our rates will stay down. My congratulations to the commissioner. She's done a remarkable job in a very, very turbulent time. I agree with everybody's general consensus that this market, this real estate market of ours, unquestionably is improving, and I honestly believe it's improving on a daily basis. Our company still owns and operates about 3.5 million square feet of commercial and industrial properties, as well as back in 2009, we really didn't go public with it, but we got bored because we couldn't buy commercial and industrial because it was falling faster than we could figure out where the bottom was. So we went back into the single-family world and bought many, many homes throughout the Phoenix metropolitan area that we ended up putting into our rental division. So although people think I might have gotten a little vacation out of that 2 years or 3 years that we were waiting for the market, I was still working and back to my roots in residential. I think that there is no question that anybody, it's like the song New York, New York. If you can make it there, you can make it anywhere. Well, if you're still in the real estate business and you've made it through 2009, 2010, 11, starting to see that recovery in 12, and now we're in 13, with not my relative, by the way, although many times people say he is. I read an article that Pollack had written recently, and he says, hang on, because 2015 is going to be the rocket ride, right? I don't know if it'll be the rocket ride, but I can tell you when I wake up in the morning, I feel more refreshed because I got to sleep the night before. So I think it's definitely better than it was, and I think the worst is behind us, and I think the best is in front of us. It doesn't mean that any of us should take anything for granted. And you know, I can say that when I look back at 2009 and 2010, of all the 40 years that I've been in the business, again starting at 3, so don't forget to remind people about that, I can tell you that those were probably the most turbulent years that I've ever seen in my 40 years in the real estate business. And I can tell you that I truly believe that the worst is behind us. I don't think there's any question about that. But I also think that it's going to continue to take hard work and dedication and integrity. And during that period of time, from 2009 to 2011, I looked at it and it reminded me of, how many of you, by the way, were in the real estate business in the started before 1979? How many of you started before 79? Wow. All right, how many of you started before 89? 99? How many of you just got in real estate today because you like what I'm saying? You know, real estate is one of the few industries in the world that you have all the inventory, if you're a broker especially. I don't work in the capacity as a broker any longer because we're owner-operators and have been for almost 25 years, but I started in the brokerage side of the business in San Jose, California many years ago. We even had a school where we trained people. But I can tell you that definitely it's one of the few businesses in the world. A shoe store, if you're going to open one, you got to go buy shoes, don't you? But when you think about the real estate business, you don't have to buy any shoes. All the inventory is on the shelves and you don't have to pay for it. All you have to do is have the ability to sell it and put the parties together and make the deal. So it's probably one of the greatest industries in the world. Now again, when it's tough, like it was in 2009 and 10 and 11, you have to, as we're going to see the good times, 2013, 14, and forward, hopefully for a long time, I always remind young people in the business, don't forget to put away for the rainy day. And I remember seeing 2 young people at a convention I was speaking at, and I remember specifically the 2 of them joking and laughing. This was in 2006. And I remember them joking and laughing and saying, hey, I just bought a new Ferrari. Oh, I just bought a new house in Scottsdale. And I remember going back and forth, and then they saw me behind them. And they said, aren't you the guy, Michael Pollack? Aren't you that dude? And I said, I am. And they said, well, is it always going to be like this? That was 2006. My message that day to the audience that was there was, for those of you that have a lot of assets out there, make sure you treat it like a tree. Prune it a little bit so you can afford to keep it. And if you're rising on your expense side, get ready, because if you go to a casino and the slot machine, it keeps paying and paying, they'll eventually come and they'll tweak it because you can't win forever. And these young men, unfortunately, didn't do that. The next time I saw one of them, he wasn't driving in his Ferrari, he was parking cars at one of the resorts. So the key is, when times are good, we've got to make sure that we save. And we were able to go through 2009, 10, and 11 without one single delinquency on over 100 projects. We weren't one day late on a payment, and most important, we didn't renegotiate. And I stand before you very proud to say this, our company did not renegotiate one single loan. And for me, thank you. And so of all the things I've done in my 40-year career, and I've been blessed with a 40-year career and great people that I've had the opportunity, like Pat Cassidy, who's been with me for 37 of those years. I've been blessed to be able to be in this business and proud to call the real estate business my business. I can honestly tell you I'm more proud that we were able to go through that 2009, 10, 11, and 12. And any of you that were here, that were in that business, in our business during that period of time, you should be very, very proud of yourselves. And you should stand as that shining example for those that are going to come after us as well, and that are going to get into our business. And don't ever let people forget what we've been through. Because those of us in the real estate industry, unfortunately, many times, we have, just like banks, we have short memories. But don't ever forget. And if I can make sure that I remind people of that, I'll continue to do so. But that doesn't mean we don't go out and do what we do best, which is make deals. So with that, I want to thank you for having me here today. And my compliments to all of those of you that are here today that are in our business. And thank you for having me.